Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, no honor guests, and folks in Zoom land. Welcome again to our weekly Toastmaster meeting. I heard this morning or this earlier that our website isn't down, so I'm sure we probably won't get any guests online for us, but let's get going. We have two speeches today, which I'm excited for. What I'm not excited for is the weather outside.
Yeah.
It is raining pretty dang good. Yep.
Well,
But that's expected. Oh, we have Sarah. Welcome, Sarah. You made it.
Hello.
We just started, so I guess we don't have a joke master. Dang. Does anyone have an impromptu joke
I
at
just
all?
heard one from Sean. You just came in with one, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, Sean, would you like to reshare the joke to us?
Was it good enough?
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
remember.
Did you guys get it? Was it like
I had
I'm
so
gonna
much
explain
going
the
on.
joke too.
Let's pretend we didn't hear it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna explain it because I don't think it's over
Sounds
my
good.
head.
I'll impromptu joke master, Sean.
Okay. It's not gonna be a joke because if you have to explain a joke, but I just want to make sure that everyone gets it. I do not believe in astrology at all. It's because I'm an Aries, a fire sign, and we're very skeptical of the whole thing. Okay, so that's the joke. Ha ha ha. The reason why it's a joke is because it's two parts. If I wasn't into astrology, then why would I say I'm an Aries and a fire sign? I didn't believe in it. So that's the
It's a logic.
dissonance there. Ah, never
Very
again.
nice.
Thank you. I'll be
Very
going
nice.
ahead.
This is a high level.
I mean, just
Select.
yeah.
Yes.
It's
Worldly.
It's good to change it up, you know. I throw the simple dad jokes, and sometimes we have to get more of a riddle type joke.
Well, I read it,
thinking
so I
type,
think that was the key. Is if you read it, it's a little
a little bit easier to follow.
never again.
Well, thank you, Mr. Joke Master Sean. I'll continue doing our role. Next, for our role, I would like to call on our timer, just Sean again.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Appreciate it.
Demonstration.
Oh yeah, thank you. So I will be timer today. We've got two speeches. I will be timing all of the speeches, all of the evaluations and table topics as well. For the two speeches, I believe we're doing for yours 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, so at 5 minutes you'll get the green, yellow will be at 6, and then red cutoff will be at 7. Buffy, I didn't get your timer. What were we doing for your length?
You know, I haven't ever timed it, so I have no idea.
Okay, do you want to just say
4 to 6.
4 to 6?
Yeah.
Okay. So for you, Buffy, we'll do 4 minutes, and then 5 minutes, and then 6 minutes. Table topics will be 1 to 2, so 1 minute, 1.5, and 2 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Appreciate it. Cool.
I have a question. Buffy, you've given your icebreaker speech, correct?
Yes.
Are you following the path are you wanting to follow a path and do something that you could actually input into pathways?
I looked at the path and my head explodes when I look at directions.
You know that fair. It's like for the one I did last week. It's like I'm confused by this, and it's like writing a speech with purpose. It's like I didn't look at pathways, but it's like for this next one, it's like I'm trying to keep the pathway thing in mind and maybe align it a little bit with that. Though we'll see how successful I am at that next. I just have a recommendation. I recommend you keep it within 5 to 7, and then we can assist you, someone that's there or online, we can assist you in getting it on the path. That would be my recommendation.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
You
I
can.
could probably, I'm gonna be a minister, I could talk for 15 minutes, you know, it's not a problem. Whether I'll stay on topic or not, I could tell you about that now if you want.
Thank you, Kathy. I believe, yeah, I think to add on to Kathy, most of the pathway project speeches are after your the first icebreaker, which is 4 to 6 minutes. They're all 5 to 7.
Okay.
And then you get to a higher level where it's more advanced and you increase the projects to 15 minutes, etc. Things like that.
You want to do
But-
5 to 7, of course.
I'm thinking the 5 number is probably gonna use it, 5 to 7 is fine.
But
Forget
yeah,
that I didn't time it.
Got you.
and of course, after you're done, you can always go on to Toastmaster and submit that speech. There is normally an elective, they call it an elective speech.
Mhm.
So it doesn't follow the actual pathways. It's just whatever you want to throw in there.
And is it, you're submitting the video of the speech, or you're submitting the,
You're logging into, and I think Robin will be able to help you with this since you
Okay.
guys are close and I think you guys talk more with each other as friends. When you log into the Toastmasters website and you select your pathway, it really is just a button that says you're just agreeing, saying next. I
Okay.
did this, and this.
okay.
I
so
followed the directions. I gave a speech. I got my
I
feedback.
got evaluated,
Yeah,
I
I
evaluated
learned-
the evaluation.
Yep.
Okay.
And then that just shows
Okay,
that you finished it.
okay, so it's our word.
Yeah, and there is it'll ask you how you feel, like you rate yourself a 1 to 5.
Uh-huh,
And then at the end, it tells you to do the speech and then you just say you're completed it.
right, okay.
So
But I don't know why my head explodes when I look at that stuff.
That's okay. That's why we have Robin and
All of
folks
you.
and all of us that's
Yeah.
gone through it and stuff. All right, I guess continuing to our role. Sorry, we took a tangent there. Our
Oh,
next person, our next role is going to be our grammarian, and I'll invite Kathy to tell us what that role is.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Apologize for the derailment. The word of the day for our speeches to incorporate is brindled, and I will play that. Brindled. I don't know if you can hear that. Brindled. Brindled. The definition is gray or tawny with darker streaks or spots. Today appears to be a brindled day. I can see I can see it all around, brindled sky. And my other role is to count words that distract, such as the one I just said, and, or, so, words that detract. Our goal is to limit those as much as possible and incorporate the word of the day, brindle. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy, for sharing us your role as grammarian. Next, I move on into the role of the general evaluator, which just happens to be Justin. Justin, can you come up and explain your role, please?
yes, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. As a general evaluator, I'm gonna evaluate the overall meeting, how well we did, how well the evaluators did. And at the end, I'll give my report and I'll also call up the reports at the end of the meeting for the time report, the morning report, and all the reports.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Justin, for explaining your role as GE. Next, we are going to move into the meat and potatoes of our meeting. I don't know why I said potatoes. I'm not a big fan of potatoes, but the meat I am a big fan of.
Meat
But our first,
zucchini?
No, that's
our first speech, I think, is going to be, I think Buffy, you got the first speech. I'm gonna call it so. And I will call on your evaluator, who is myself, to already stand up here. So your speech, that's my thing here. I am excited to call up Buffy again to give her second speech of since joining us in Toastmaster, and she is giving her speech on what's rising. Buffy.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored hypothetical guests. I'm getting him out of the way. I'm gonna move this a little bit. And breathe. See, I follow directions. I invite you to wonder if lately have you noticed the world seems to be losing its mind. In my experience, people are less orderly, more chaotic. There's less predictability in what's happening in our world, certainly in our country, and it feels harder. It feels there's a level of stress in the air that is tangible around this country. Specifically, I can say, I think we are being called to a new level of boldness and courage and self-compassion as we allow ourselves to feel these feelings of confusion and fear even that's coming out. It does require us to be more self-aware as we move through these times, more self-aware of what we're putting out into the world and how we're putting it into our bodies. It requires us to have a level of deliberate intentionality about what we want to see in the future. Our kindness muscles must be strong and active, especially if we aim to love those around us, especially those that are hard to love. It's these times where we must cultivate resilience. And I just love this understanding of what is resilience. So you have what you know and what you don't know. And this gap between what we know and what we don't know, you might call it the learning gap. And the feeling when we are in that gap is frustration. It is, I know I should know how to do this. I'm going to beat myself up because I don't know how to do this, whatever this is, whether it's I know this thing that's happening or this experience that we're all having or what's coming next in the world. I know I should know it, but I don't, so I feel frustrated. And that expression of frustration, well, I'll share an experience that I had. I was writing yet another paper, and my desk was covered with notes, and my computer was covered with notes, and I'm looking and I'm trying to come up, the paper's due in a couple days, and I'm trying to get it all together. And at some point I recognized, oh, wait, I've done this 20 times already in school. I've come to this place where it's never going to come together. Oh my gosh. And then it comes together. And at that moment, I allowed that frustration to dissipate because I knew I was going to have something at the end. And it was like calm came into me. And that experience of going from knowing to not knowing, and that frustration lessens if we can trust that there's something coming that we can trust. The learning space, as I say, feels like frustration because we know we should know, but we don't. Right now, in our culture, collectively, we don't know how to get from where we are now, which feels a lot like a world that's going insane, to what's the world we want to have? What is the experience we want to have? Can we jointly and individually, I guess it really has to start at the individual, what is it that I want to have happen in my world? How do I want to experience the world? What are the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs I have? I personally aim for a world that's working for everyone. So what I do in my experience is focus on what I want to see, not on what I don't want to see. I watched a wonderful movie recently called Join or Die. It's kind of a scary, shocking title, but it's a movie. It's about a social scientist named Robert Putnam. And Robert Putnam studied American culture. He was looking to see what the hell was going on. He was studying from around the late 50s to 60s and 70s. And he was noticing that, when I grew up, my parents belonged to we belonged to the Episcopal Church, and my mother was a member of the Voters League and the women's what do they call it? But anyway, she belonged to a sewing circle. My father was he was an archaeologist, he was a teacher. They both belonged to lots of organizations. When I grew up and got married, my husband was on the softball league and the bowling league, and I was thinking of joining these things, but I never did. But those lateral connections that we have as we are parts of the community laterally. I know you because we are in Toastmasters together, and I know you because we're in the bowling league together, and I know these people over here because they're in my neighborhood. And when I'm in these gatherings together with these people, I am beginning to know. We're having conversations laterally. We're beginning to know each other. We're beginning to know the community we live in a new way. What happened during the 50s and 60s was television. Mr. Putnam decided he recognized that when television started being in everyone's living room, people stopped joining. People stopped being part of these community organizations. So now in our culture, we're all about the individual, and I'm fine, and I'm in a community with people all over the world, but it's not really a community. It's people I talk to, but it's not a lateral community. So we aren't knitted together laterally anymore. I know when I was trying to fill out my my ballot, I'd studied the voters pamphlet, and I was like, I don't know who these people are. I don't know who these people are. I've never talked with anybody about these people. If I'd been part of a group of organizations, and I would talk about, like the chamber often has this get to know the candidates conversation. I didn't attend that. I was like, oh, that would have been a really useful thing to know, to have these conversations laterally. This is why I call what is rising up. What is rising up, I see, is this collective re-engagement on the lateral level. People are joining co-ops. People are becoming parts of things. It is a way to fill in the gaps when the government steps out, or when the government isn't able to step in and support us. So we are creating a social net through all these cultural connections. Went really sideways from what I have written down. I will admit that. But people are stepping up and lifting loads together in a way that I find very heartening. And I like to call that out. What is rising up for me? I like to see, and I speak to what is showing up that is good in our world today. We are bucking the trend of individuality. We are reknitting society. And this makes me happy because we may be losing our minds, but I find that we are finding our hearts. With that, I am complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Buffy, for a wonderful speech on cultural rising. We'll just use that terminology. Can you hear Kathy?
Very low now all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think if you give it a second, I think what's happening is the mic has this auto loudness to it. So when we're clapping or when we get loud, it reduces itself, and then it kind of figures its way out. So hopefully you can hear us now. We're all good. Awesome. Next, I guess we'll go on to our second speech, and the person who is valuing Justin, your value. I'm going to pull up Sean.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I will be evaluating Justin today for his speech. I didn't get a speech title.
Fire ring.
Is it?
Fire ring.
Fire ring.
Yeah.
That's right. The fire ring, not firing, but fire ring.
No firing.
Welcome up to the stage. We got Justin here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Madam Toast, Mr. Sean, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters honored guest. No firing today. Fire ring, it's a fire ring. Personal projects, whether at home or on ourselves, it just seems like they never end. Can anybody relate to that? Does it feel like there's always something to work on? I feel the same way. The most recent project I had was we redid our fire pit. We wanted something a little bit nicer than what we had, which was a bunch of rocks on the ground in somewhat of a circle. You want to call it a circle, maybe an oval, oblong shape, just flat on the gravel. And we used that for a while and it was nice, but we wanted to upgrade. The design architect always picks something nice, albeit not the easiest to build. But in this case, she actually found something really simple. It was just a metal fire ring that you buried in the ground 10 inches or so, and it has a buffer of gravel around it for the embers, and so you can set your chairs nice as you're sitting by the fire. So the design architect wanted black rock, is what she wanted around it. No, design architect's my wife. So we set out to find this fire ring that we saw in so many pictures. And come to find out, it is really hard to find. You would think you'd find it anywhere, but we just couldn't find this fire ring anywhere. We looked all over the place, searched high and low, and we finally found it online, of course. As much as we try to support local stores, they don't really carry much stock, and it's limited supply and availability. We end up online ordering these things. Well, now that we had it ordered, we knew what we wanted. Now we needed to figure out where to put it. We had a rough idea. We thought we wanted it in the middle of the backyard. But after thinking about it, we thought, hey, we don't want it to be the focal point of our backyard. Maybe on the side of the house. But conversely, we thought, well, that's kind of secluded and it's also out in the open. So we decided finally where we wanted it was in the back corner of our yard next to where there's some trees. And that way, if you really use your imagination and you're facing the right way, you might picture yourself out in the woods somewhere. You're camping. Well, having decided what we wanted and where we wanted it, I ordered it and it finally came about a week or so later. And one thing I learned before I did any work, I wanted to place it where it should go. Because as many times I've done things, I realize as well as you can picture things in your head, or maybe you're the best artist and you sketch it out, it never really looks the same as when it's actually there and in person. So we moved it here, a little over there, a little over here, and we finally found the sweet spot. And then it was time for the work to begin. I started shoveling, and boy, it's amazing the amount of dirt that comes out of a seemingly small area. Just a ton of dirt came out. I asked my boys to help. Actually, I told them to help. They had no interest in helping. And they were wheeling the wheelbarrows full of dirt away. And that's one thing I figured out many years ago. My old house, we had bark, and I had to do bark every couple of years. And I had one wheelbarrow at the time, and the boys would take turns hauling the bark. But they would nag and criticize each other. And he's not doing his part, and I'm doing more than him, and he's dumping it in the wrong spot. So I bought 2 wheelbarrows. Solve the problem. They're both busy, no time to nag. The best investment. Plus, the work gets done quicker. Right? The 2 wheelbarrows, they just kept hauling, I kept shoveling. It finally was ready to set the fire ring. I set it in place, buried around it, leveled it off really nice. It was time to go get black rock. The place to get black rock at this time, the best price was Black Lake Supply in west side Olympia, Black Lake Boulevard. Might be Tumwater there. There's a line, property line somewhere along there. I also had a pile of concrete that I needed to recycle. Had a small pile. I had been throwing it in my garbage can, but come to find out, you can't dump concrete in your garbage can. I found out with a nasty note on my garbage can one day, and the concrete set next to it.
Oh.
How embarrassing. I had no idea. Well, trying to be as efficient as possible, I went ahead and loaded the trailer with the concrete. At the same time, I'm going to pick up the gravel. One trip, both things. The place to unload the concrete was way in the back, past all the material, in a mud pit. We was throwing out the concrete and every piece splashed us. We're covered in mud. As careful as we could be, there was no way to avoid it. Having the concrete unloaded, we finally went down and got the gravel. The machine scooped 1 yard without effort into the trailer. 1 yard is what I calculated we needed. Unfortunately, it did not come out that easily. Again, shoveling it out, wheelbarrow at a time. And on occasion, I'd go over and rake it out and then tamper it to prevent settling. And finally, we got to the final grade and I gave it one final tampering, leveled it off so it wouldn't settle or wash out. Called the inspector. She came out, gave it the stamp of approval. It was time for fire and some s'mores. Yay.
Hmm.
All that hard work and effort, those were the best s'mores we had ever had. Isn't that the reward of all of our projects? Is the sense of accomplishment, the feeling, the sense of satisfaction we have at the end. And we get to learn so much along the way. And even our mistakes that we make teach us so much about what we do, something about ourselves, something to improve. So if anybody's been putting off a personal project, whether personal or at home, I encourage you to keep doing them because we gain so much out of them that just make us better people in the end. That's all I got.
You for hire?
Sure.
Thank. All right, I think the volume is slowly catching back up after the clapping, maybe. Nope, not yet.
Maybe
Nice.
sing a little bit.
I'll pause for and then it'll go. It takes a few minutes, or maybe a few seconds. Thank you, Justin, for a wonderful speech again. I always enjoy your speech because they're stories that are so relatable, things that common people would actually do on their own. The frustration, the work ethic, the the positive side to it, the what you don't want to do idea. So it's so great to hear your stories, and thank you for sharing that with us. Next, I'd like to move on to our table topic, who is Buffy.
Thank you. Yes, today, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. You know, we know the purpose of the Topics Master is to facilitate table topics where you all get to speak extemporaneously. I'm going to get the box. What's the word? Or just pull the card.
The word brindled.
Who would like to go first?
You could also
Take a chance. Take a chance. Kathy will go first. Fabulous. Thank you, Kathy. The topic for you. If you could have a conversation with a deceased friend or relative, who would you choose?
Ooh, thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. If I had the choice to speak to, wow, that's tough. I have several, but I'll pick one, would be my sister. My sister would bring up a lot of things that are happening right now that she might have issue with. And she would also be ecstatic to know how her children have grown and how her grandchild has grown and how the rest of the family is. So it would be great to have that conversation to reconnect, to update her on all the past events, the current events. And I would also be able to check in with her and see how heaven is and what I have to look forward to. And if she was really ready to go, all those questions that you want to ask, were you ready? Did it hurt? And all that. How was the experience? And just to hear all of the fascinating life transitions that take place when you pass away. I would really want to hear. Then again, don't really want to hear because I'm going to talk to dead people. So there we go. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, another willing victim. You can pick this topic, or I can pick you a new topic. Who would like to go?
I'll go.
Don will go. All right.
Just would you mind?
Oh, of course.
Thank you.
How would you like to spend your elder years?
Thank you, Madam Tabletop Master, for that question I've actually had on my mind this year and last year. I have fantasies, right? One, working when and what I want to work on. What I do now is cool. I just don't want to do it at, knock on wood, 70, 75. I have this fantasy of sitting on a porch somewhere, homemade cabin out in the woods, allowed to be secluded, with the option of going and visiting other people if I wanted to. And I also have this image of retirement homes, because who knows where I'm going to be in decades from now. Both of them, though, do involve video games. I used to be an avid gamer. I had to give it up around when Skyrim came out, which was about a decade and a half ago, because I just didn't want to be that guy anymore. I was that kid with the original NES gun playing Duck Hunt. So I go way back. So I'm gonna bring it back in my retirement. I'm gonna get the Game Boys, I'm gonna get the PS2, the PlayStation, the arcade. I mean, everything I can think of, and I'm just gonna hang out on my porch or retirement home, dining room, hall, wherever, and just game and enjoy life, and maybe go on some hikes, maybe go travel if I can. But video games, that's the short and sweet of it.
Thank
Thank you. Oh, that I didn't know. That's
Anyone else?
you.
One of these two topics?
Okay, I'll do one, and I think it'll be the last one.
The last one? All right. How would you like to spend your elder years? Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Madam Tabletop Master. In my elder year, I'll be brazen. Is that the word?
No, brindled.
Brindle. I will be I will probably be brindle with some gray and black hair all messed up together. Maybe.
Good.
I don't know.
Good job.
I also have a fantasy close to what Sean is, which is to lay on the beach, though, with some nice drinks, with the nice warm sun on me. Very tropical. It will be a tropical feeling, but also with the option to also socialize and visit families and friends. So no remote. I've seen those shows where people go out to a cabin and then they just get lost in the wilderness. That's not me. I need my socialness, but I also need the tropicalness because I like the sun. I like staying warm. I like going swimming, drying off, back in the water swimming, drying off. And I'm hoping part of growing old and being there is also traveling to other beaches, not just staying in that one beach area, but multiple beaches, Hawaii, Fiji, Indonesia, you name it. Where there's tropical place, you will find Kim relaxing, hopefully with someone next to him at that point as well, because that would be not as fun, but that's a different story. And I'll end it there with that. I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. We have time for one more? No? No? All right. Well, thank you all for your contributions. We will log these in and check on you in a couple 20 years or so. I will return the podium to you, sir.
Thank you again, Madam Tabletop Master, and great topics. Love those fun ones as well. With that, I think I'll transition into evaluation, and I will also continue on and pass it on to me as your evaluation, Buffy. I'll start off by saying, great speech for what's rising. I'll go off the good, the better, best, and a couple of things that will need a little bit of feedback on to work on. What's good is you have learned from my last valuation of coming up here and then prompting yourself and moving the podium and then preparing yourself instead of walking and talking at the same time when you came. So I thought that was really good. Learning from that, you were confident. I saw you very confident in standing up as better hand gesture all over the place with what you needed to say and voice inflection. Very good up and down. You had visual context with all of us around here. And the best with any speech, I think, is the story and the examples that you provided. Some of this, I think you brought in 2 stories to help us understand, though one of the thing that I think we work on was, I think there was one story you tried to tell example and it just kind of went somewhere I couldn't follow. And I think you called yourself out on that way. You went sideways, you said, on some of your speech on that. Other than that, to add on to the feedback of keeping things to not go sideways is maybe just practice on those 2 stories, and then how you can bring those 2 stories back to us. And I think you're aware of that. So really it's practice. I would love to actually hear the story, the speech again with all these improvements, so that then we have a better overall understanding of what you're trying to share us with the culture now and what lateral movements and lateral culture truly means to you.
Yeah.
With that, that's all I have, and I'll turn it over to our second evaluator.
Thank
Where's
you.
Justin? No,
Right here.
John.
Yeah.
Poor Justin.
Yes.
I'm gonna evaluate myself. I did great.
Gold stars all the way around.
No improper word usage.
No Brindle.
No Brindle.
I'm just want to say it out right now. Brindle. Justin. For the evaluation, I just want to preface this with 2 things. I need to be timed is the first out of 3. We set that back, if you don't mind.
2 to 3 minutes.
First thing is I'm going off of the evaluation resource that we have.
Okay.
I will start with all of the clarity through well supported. I have notes for you, and good work on challenge is what we're gonna do. I don't know you as well, so I don't know where you started and where you are now. I'm only evaluating what I see and what I perceive. So take that with a grain of salt, please. Going down the list, clarity, super clear. Each word had enunciation. There was no slurring or rumbling off on any of the words. I love that about you and your speeches. Peachy eye contact. It was great. You engaged with everybody. I didn't see any on the Zoom, but that's a little bit more difficult, I can imagine. But you inside here kept everyone attention or paid attention by your eye contact. Your hand movements were great through the whole story. You picked up the wheelbarrow, you were talking to your children, you were digging. All of these subtle hand gestures weren't out and crazy, but they were there to build the story that you were telling. And I really appreciate that. Again, it's that engagement that you showed. Your comfort level was brilliant. Jokes on jokes, just subtle stand-up jokes. You weren't telling jokes, you were just, it was a humorous speech. I don't know if that was intentional, but it worked, definitely. Very lighthearted. You asked questions in the beginning, you kept us engaged. For the good, poised. I didn't hear one or filler or anything from you, which I notice you do that really, really well. Good laughs. If I could say to work on though, the 2 things, volume and your pitch, your vocal variety. You have this very neutral voice, and if you wanted to raise it, learn about vocal variety, that would be good. That's all I got was the last part of your speech. Kind of ended on as strong as your whole speech was. Ending it strong would be really good. Then I challenge you, you're a great storyteller. Please lean into that because it's something I admire and I'm working on. So great job overall. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. I'll turn it back to Toastmaster, please. Thanks again.
Yes. Good evaluation.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely correct.
I got busy with the timer stuff and I messed up times because I was trying
I'm
to.
not gonna admit that I did the same thing.
We do so good at double booking roles and doing really well. I think props for us doing double roles sometimes.
Yeah.
I guess that I agree, Sean. Great evaluation. So now I'm going to turn it over to our general evaluator, Justin, to wrap us up.
Alright. Well, my evaluation. There it is. Make sure I'm on the right page here. I have a hard time reading my writing. Well, we had a great meeting. I'll just start off by giving my evaluation. I think it was great. We were good. We're on time. We filled our roles. I think it's really good that we filled multiple roles. As Kim said, that's definitely challenging. But at the same time, I've also grown myself personally by taking on the multiple roles last minute. Pressure's on. I don't want to do it, but here I am. And we all take on that responsibility very well. And I think it's really good for not only for the group, but us individually. Helps us grow unexpectedly at that. You know, you're going to do something throughout the week, you can kind of prepare somewhat. But when you're right here, it's a little more challenging. I also appreciate that we did keep everybody informed via text messages. I think that's a great feature where we can say, hey, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be half hour late. I'm going to only be here for a half hour. I think that's great that we can continue to do that in the group chat. I think that's very helpful. Also, Robin showed up and Sarah showed up. They showed up for a half hour. That's good. Oh, Robin's still here. Are you? I just see a face.
She's probably in class.
At any rate, it's nice to have people just show up for what they can, to hear a speech, to comment, to just be a part. Let's see. You had a great table topics. Appreciate the way you did those, Buffy. You administered that well. You came up with cards, very good subjects. You put it out to people, everybody that did it. You're very respectful and really facilitated that well. Captivating speech is what I had. So you did a very good speech. It was engaging, captivating. It was relevant, but not controversial. It could have been, and it's nice to see that it was just captivating and just kept within certain boundaries. That was nice. Kim squeezed in the word of the day. You did a great job explaining the timing role. You showed the cards, and also you did a very good job of signaling us. I felt like it was nice and clear when time was up. Also, beforehand, I appreciate that Kim shared the Zoom link. When we found out the website didn't work, Kim went ahead and shared the Zoom link and the password to make sure the members could join via Zoom. And that was also another good thing. The only other something to work on is so Kim, I noticed today you really wanted to fist bump instead of handshake. So it's been helpful. Maybe set those guidelines from the beginning. Say, hey, let's just fist bump today. And just get that clear. And also, once or twice we left the lectern unattended. So I think we want to keep that if somebody's here until somebody walks away.
Who knew?
With that, I think I'm out of time, or I don't know if I'm being timed yet.
I don't think
but
general evaluators are timed, or are they?
2 to 3 minutes.
I'm so sorry.
Okay,
I'm
no
reading
worries.
this and it doesn't say Jen.
Okay.
My apologies.
All right. I'll conclude with that, calling up the roles. The next, let's see, who am I calling up first? Let's call the timer. How's that? I
Cool.
think the timer goes first.
See. Thank you, Justin. Start out by saying my timing, I wasn't prepared, not an excuse, though. Some of the times are general. For Buffy, I do apologize. I started slightly late on yours, about 10 seconds. I know. 7:33 is what I have though with that buffer. So just slightly above time that we had you for the 5 to 7 minutes. Justin, you were on point, 6 minutes 35. You just nicked it there. That was great for your 5 to 7. Table topics, I got down to the T. Kathy, minute 10. You were in time. I was a minute 37. And Kim, you were at 127. The evals I got messed up. Kim, for yours, I do apologize. That was probably the worst one. I was more focused on my evaluation with Justin. Now I know though that jumping in and filling roles right away is something that I can be more conscious aware of, just be more on the ball. However, I as good as I could do, you hit 205, but I mean that's with my timing, so I want to say you're right on there. And Jenny Vel, spot on, just 155 or no, sorry, 255, perfect, couldn't have done better. And with that, my timer evaluation is up. I'd like to return it to the general eval.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, that's how we learn. So we appreciate jumping in, and that's how we learn and grow. And sometimes even if you've been doing it a while, you forget, get captivated with the speech. So
Sometimes it's like, which are less compatible to do it in the
Sure.
same, position.
Mhm.
It's hard to be timer and evaluator or whatever. I mean, I don't even know, I'm still gonna learn this, but there's some that just doesn't make sense to be trying to do them both.
Yeah. All right, next I would like to call up on, what do we have? The grammarian? Is that the last one we have? The grammarian report. Kathy, would you mind giving the grammarian report?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. We'll start with the word of the day. John shouted it out. Not sure he incorporated it. Kim did similar. Kim incorporated. I take that back. He talked about the sky. And Justin, I heard you in the background say it. So I'm trying to give you a little bit of credit. Here you go. And I used it once in the opening. And Sean, I'll start with yours. Words that I thought were good word usage. Fantasies, knock on wood, homemade cabin, retirement homes, video games, duck hunt, hang out, playing games, what else? Humorous speech, and great storyteller is what I have for you. Words that detract. Oh no, another good word usage is enunciation, grain of salt, brilliant, and peachy. I like that word, peachy. Words that detract, so twice, and you have a what do you call a lip smack? Like when you come up, you might hear it if you listen to the recording. It's very, very loud, like that. All right, Kim, good word usage, improvements, relatable stories, frustration. Sorry, trying to stop this. Frustration, ethic, fantasy, tropical, socialness, travel, multiple beaches, learned confident voice inflection, visual context. The word socialness, I put it down as good word usage, but the pronunciation was I understood what you said, but it didn't come out that way. Words that detract, sorry. Words that detract were twice, so 3 times, and once. There were several start stops with we, the, several of those. And then Buffy, lots of great word usage. Follow directions. You actually were speaking about yourself. World losing mind, less predictable, tangible level stress, self-compassion, confidence, kindness. Kindness muscle. Cultivate resilience, frustration, dissipate. Lessons culture collectively. Focus on what I want to see. Join or die. Ooh. Lateral corrections, community organizations. There was just so much. Cultural directions. Wow, there was just a lot. Collective engagement. So much, so much, so much. Words that detract were, let's start with the doubles. There were about 10 start-stop doubles. I didn't write each one down, but it might be something to be aware of. Other words, and was the top word for you, 8 times, 3 times, 6 times, once. Justin, great word usage again. Captivating speech, I think is the word you use. Relevant, certain boundaries. Thought that was interesting. Limited supply. Design architect. Fire ring, which I thought was fire ring, but you clear that up. Online imagination. Fix your eyes. Forest. Think you're in the forest. Sweet spot. Told the boys. Nag. Criticize. 2 wheelbarrows. Let's see what else I have. Nasty note. Covered in mud. Fire and s'mores. Reward, accomplishment, satisfaction, encouragement, challenging, multiple roles. Pressure's on. Grow unexpectedly. Appreciate. Lectern. Words that detract. And 6 times. So once. Several double word start stops, such as so, we, win, etc. Great. Speaking, you all, you put me on my toes. I'm sure I had several words that detract, but in this role, I don't really get to track myself. So there we go. Thank you.
Amazing evaluator. Yeah, he needs to teach the class.
Yes, thank you, Kathy. Very thorough evaluation. We appreciate that. Really helps us focus on things we don't notice. This is very helpful. I believe that is the last of it. So the next thing, not on this agenda, but we typically do fill the roles. Does anybody want to fill any roles next week by chance?
I know Sarah's planning to give a talk.
Is Sarah going to
Speech.
speak still?